I want a processor head unit that can also play FLAC, WAV formats, all in high-res, and on top of that costs less than the competitors. Guys, today we have just such head units in our review, or more precisely one of them, since basically all the models in the lineup have the same functionality. This is the ADX-905BM. These head units are sure to impress you today with their specs and appearance, and with their functionality. This is the ACV channel, I'm your host Stas Bast, and I welcome you all. Let's go. Once again, I'd like to point out that all the head units in this lineup are processor-based head units. I'd like to remind you that these are budget models because compared to other competitors, even other budget ones, they cost even less. And yet they offer such functionality on board, but we'll get to that a bit later. Among the single DIN units, we have these three head units, the 903, 905, and 907. The only difference between them is their appearance. I think you'll find that more or less they resemble some other more well-known brands. And today, the focus of our review will be the 905 head unit. We've also taken care of those who have frames for double DIN head units in their cars and released one as well. This is also a processor-based head unit, the ADX-905BM. It has exactly the same characteristics as single DIN radios, so there is no point in considering it for review. The function is absolutely identical. You can focus your attention on today's review of a single DIN radio. Before unpacking this radio, I would like to run through its main cool features and characteristics. Yes, it is processor-based, but it comes equipped with its own original ACV Soundstone processor. It's a 32-bit processor and is capable of playing FLAC and WAV formats at 24-bit 96 kHz resolution. Just so you understand, that's a top-tier format. It's an audio beast, really, in the audio industry, and it's capable of reproducing absolutely every sound the creator put into the audio track, right down to a violin in the 10th row. Believe me, the sound is just incredible. And today we'll see for ourselves that even a head unit costing several times more than ours couldn't reproduce what this one can. I have to admit, I learned about this head unit format myself. We'll definitely come back to its detailed specs later, but for now let's start unboxing this head unit and see what's actually inside the box, what comes in the package, and so on. Right away we're greeted by this microphone in the box. It's used so you can make hands-free phone calls via Bluetooth through the head unit without having to hold your phone in your hand while you're busy driving. Let's take out the head unit and see what else we've got here. There's a remote control which you can also use to operate the head unit from a distance. You don't necessarily have to reach for it. Maybe someone sitting in the back seat can't reach the knobs or buttons, so they can just use the remote and control the head unit with ease. There are also these standard Euro connector cables for installation, which come with all main units of this size and type. As a bonus, there's this sticker for our customers and a branded air freshener from ACV, by the way, with a really nice scent. I actually have one hanging in my own car. The fragrance is strong, pleasant, and cool. Naturally, the box also includes a manual with a warranty card, a promotional brochure, and another sticker as well. Let's set aside the accessories that come with the head unit for a moment and take it out of this branded bag with ACV logos, as you can see, and take a closer look at it. Let's start with the back side of the head unit and see what it has on board, what connectors it features. The first thing I see is the antenna connector, which is pretty standard for head units. Next, we see the connector for steering wheel controls, which allows you to operate the head unit, adjust the volume, switch tracks, and so on. The next connector is for the microphone, which I showed you earlier. And here are three pairs of RCA connectors, which you'll use to send the signal to your amplifiers, and from the amplifiers, your music will play, which in fact needs sound amplification. If the built-in amplifier in the head unit isn't powerful enough for you, looking ahead, I'd like to mention these RCA outputs. They have a voltage of 4 volts, as specified directly by the manufacturer, meaning us. But in practice, the voltage is actually even higher. If I can find a video online right now, I'll definitely insert a clip here.
Here, you can turn it all the way up and the signal remains clean. That is, there's absolutely no drop, and at the same time, almost.
6 volts at the output, meaning this is basically top tier, high output voltage. What it can give you is, as a professional, I already know, it's excellent control over the amplifier, much better than, say, Pioneers, which only have 2 volts at the output. That's less interference, 100% straight to the amplifier. Many of you have probably encountered this as well. It's when your amplifier, when you connect the speakers, you hear that it starts to hum, making those awful unpleasant noises and so on. In general, when the output voltage is higher, it naturally only has a positive effect. And there's just one connector left. It's the Euro connector for connecting the head unit's power and the wiring that goes to the speakers. Also, I'd like to highlight among everything else that we have our proprietary app ACV, which is available on the Play Market for Android and in the App Store for iPhone, respectively. We go to connections and select our device. Here it connected automatically for me. And as you can see, I'm adjusting the volume on my phone. And on the head unit, it increases or decreases accordingly. All the processor settings are also available in the app. I'll show you all of this right now. Down here on the bottom right, there are these 3 lines where you can set the balance, fader, move the sound forward or backward to make it louder in certain areas. If we tap here on the right side of the screen, we can access the general sound settings. These include the equalizer, fader and balance, audio settings, delays, and crossover. And this is the main menu of the app where you can select the mode in which the processor device itself will operate. And in each mode, there are also sound settings available. For example, if we go into the radio, you'll see that the same sound settings are available here as well. We can also choose the backlight while in the app and change it directly on the device. For instance, if we want to set something greener, there we've selected green, or to a blue shade, something bluer. It's pretty cool to have this feature built into the main device along with the app, so you can control it directly from your phone remotely. That's definitely a separate thumbs up for this feature. Next, I'd like to talk about this head unit already connected to our demo stand that we have in the MV Group store. Let's go down to the store where we'll hook it up and I'll show and explain everything to you. You'll be pleasantly impressed by this device. So, we've come down to our official MV Group store. As you can see, we have reviews playing on the screens here, and here's the very head unit. I'll lower the camera now that we're reviewing today. You can also see all the processor-based anode-in devices here, which are absolutely identical to this one, differing only in appearance. Let's quickly go over what all 3 processor-based anode-in devices in the lineup look like. This is the 907 head unit, this is the 903, and accordingly the 905, which is the one we're reviewing. As you can see, each of them is different from the others, but may resemble other, more well-known brands, so everyone can choose one of the 3 devices to their own taste. And this is what our double DIN head unit looks like, also processor-based, with exactly the same internals as the single DIN version. And overall, you can take a look at it and appreciate the design. This is what its screen looks like, this is the menu, and you can also select Russian as the interface language. This is what it looks like on the outside, and the first thing I'd like to mention about this head unit, more precisely, its main advantage over other competitors, is its ability to play music in WAV format at 24-bit, 96 kHz from a flash drive. I've preloaded 2 tracks onto the flash drive. One is a regular MP3 file which any head unit can play, and the second is that very track which most likely will cause problems for other head units today. Even head units that are several times more expensive than ours have trouble with this. So let's go ahead and check. Let's select USB. The very first track, which is in MP3 format, plays absolutely perfectly fine, as you can clearly see. And now we move on to the very heavy WAV file, a 24-bit, 96 kHz audio file, and as you can observe, it handles it with absolutely no problem at all. It plays music in the absolutely original, high-quality sound that the artist intended. Honestly, I think there's nothing better than this quality at the moment. Let's move on to other head units and see if they can play it too, and compare them to our device. I've inserted the flash drive with our music into this head unit. This is the Kraken from the company Provosh. You can see the price tag. Let's try to play the same tracks we recorded. We hear a regular MP3 file. It plays calmly, we turn on the next track and it immediately jumps back to the same track, meaning it is absolutely unable to play the high-res format, which our head units can play without any issues, as well as the 5 and, of course, all the other processor-based head units in the lineup. So the next comparison will be with the 7.7 head unit from Aura. I think you all know it well. It's a budget processor head unit, but still more expensive than ours. Let's check the flash drive as well to see if it can play the format that our head unit handles with ease. As you can hear, regular MP3 format plays without any problems at all. Let's try it. Oops, that's it. WAV format high res, it doesn't play. It simply can't open it. And it switches back to the MP3 track again. And now let's move on to probably the flagship in sales among the new 1DIN processor head units. This is the Pioneer 520. You can clearly see the price tag. I've already inserted the flash drive. Let's see if it will play high-res format. USB. Here we go. It plays MP3 format without any issues. Let's try the next one. Oops! Now it wants to switch to the first track, but unfortunately it can't read it. As you've already realized, our head unit, which is rated to compete even with this Pioneer, if you take one that's 4 times cheaper, reads WAV format, WAV, FLAC format, high-res 24-bit, 96 kHz. I'd also like to point out that the USB port here is used not only for connecting flash drives and playing music. You can also connect your phone here and charge it with fast charging at 2.1 amps. Now let's quickly go through its main settings, specifically focusing on the processor. What kinds of crossovers, delays, and so on it has. We go to the menu, select audio, then Pro Crossover, choose the speakers, frequency, and as we can see for tweeters and so on, we can set the cutoff from 1 kHz to 16 kHz. Next, for the front speakers, we also look at the frequency from 0, then 30, 40, 60, and so on up to 500 kHz. The slope can be set up to 4th order. Next, we will now carefully move on to thoroughly examine the rear speakers and check their frequency response, starting precisely from 0 Hz and gradually going all the way up to 500 Hz. No. And the cutoff is also at 4th order. In fact, all budget processor head units can boast a 4th order crossover. But when we switch our crossover to the 3-way mode, let's take a look. Let's see if the settings for the slope steepness will change. Let's take a look. For the tweeter, for example, the frequency is 4 kHz and the slope is also up to 4th order. Now let's move on to the other mid-range speakers. Let's set it to 80 Hz. The slope is 4th order, exactly the same as in the 2-way mode. Let's also see what sources are available. This head unit has signal sources besides just a flash drive. We also have AUX, of course. Next is Bluetooth. You can connect your phone, play music, and also make phone calls. I'd also like to point out that this isn't just regular Bluetooth, it's version 5, one of the latest, and it supports the IPTX protocol. This means that you won't have any delay at all between your phone and music playback or any other content, like watching movies. There will be absolutely no lag between the devices. And radio as well, of course. Let's also go into the head unit settings and see what the system can do. Display, color selection, there are variable options and you can choose exactly the shade you want. Naturally, it has RGB backlighting on board, which is quite bright, vivid, and powerful. There's a dimmer, so you can select the brightness for day or night. If you want it a bit dimmer, you can choose that too. You can turn the display off or on or adjust its backlight in case it bothers you while driving, for example. The button backlighting can also be turned off or on separately if you find them too bright or simply don't need the backlight at all. Here you can also see the software version, which, by the way, is regularly updated on our official website. We strive to keep all our head units firmware up to date, fixing any issues or adding new features. Next, in the settings, you naturally have language selection, clock settings, and a full reset option. There's also a signal sound, which you can hear now. You can turn it on or off, and then you won't hear it. For example, there's a built-in amplifier preset in the head unit itself, which powers your speakers without the need for separate amplifiers. You can also turn it on or off. And while we're on the topic of disabling the key press sound, I'd like to highlight as a plus the pleasant feel of pressing the buttons. There are no overly loud sounds or annoying chirps, which is a big advantage. Overall, to sum up, this is a super pleasant device, a processor that simply can't be matched by anything else in its price range. Once again, note the price, $6,190. Plus, right now we have a promotion when you buy any processor-based device, whether 1 DIN or 2 DIN, which has exactly the same functionality. You'll get our signature t-shirt from SV, and there's also a chance to receive additional gifts. You can find all the details about this promotion in the description below the video. So follow the link in the description and order our head unit. It's unbelievably awesome, fantastic, and cool. And the price is really affordable too. Plus, we're giving you extra goodies as a gift along with this head unit. Buy it, enjoy, and listen to music. Good luck to everyone. Goodbye.